Well, hello there, motherfuckers. Well, you know, there seems to be a lot of negativity around the Payback. Now, I was live tweeting during the show. I wrote a little something about it this morning on Twitter when I got up to go to work. And I gotta say, I really don't understand where all the hate's coming from on this show. Now, there was stuff not to like on this show, but you know, if you're saying that this was one of the worst shows, Fastlane was a lot worse. The Royal Rumble also wasn't that great of a show. So I'm not really seeing how this is the worst show, one of the worst shows. People were calling it, you know, boring, unbearable. People were saying, I'm gonna stop watching. You're not gonna stop watching, for fuck's sakes. This show wasn't that bad. If you're saying that this show was horrible, you're overreacting. There was stuff to like on this show. Now, I'm not saying that this was, you know, the start of a new era. That's fucking bullshit. But it was a decent pay-per-view. And for all the people that say that all they want is wrestling and good matches, there was no reason not to like this show. It was fine. There was nothing really that bad about it that everyone should be losing their minds over. This is what I'm not getting. And, you know, I noticed right away when I wrote on Twitter about this show, and you know, right away I wrote that, you know, I don't understand why people are saying that this is the worst show ever. And somebody right away wrote, oh, the Brad Rules says it's a really good show. And I respond, you know, follow me at the real Mr. Brad. I'll put the link down in the description if I remember to do it. And I'm like, show me where I said it was a really good show. I'm not saying that this is a really good show. What I'm saying is it was a decent show. And if it wasn't for one stupid ass fucking decision on this show, I might actually say it was good. But I'm actually taking off a whole point due to one match. And I'll get to that son of a bitch in a minute. So anyway, we start off with Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains in a tournament final. And anyone who saw this show knows how scary this was. I didn't even notice when the spot first occurred. I mean, because it was just a normal transitional, you know, move. It wasn't really meant to be a big spot. Enzo was supposed to be thrown out of the ring at one point. But instead of just, you know, doing what wrestlers normally do and just, you know, get thrown through the ropes, Enzo's head, he sort of, I don't know what happened, whose fault it was, if it was one of the Vaudevillains or it was Enzo, you know, not properly performing the move. You know, but wrestling is unpredictable. You know, sometimes you just can't blame anybody. It's kind of like the D'Lo Brown draw situation, a tragedy. But you can't really blame either party because, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. It's a physical form of entertainment. And injuries, they almost always happen. They're to be expected. And I talked about this a while ago in one of my videos. I remember like a few years back, we talked about injuries and, you know, how they're going to happen, like concussions. And we should just kind of expect them. Especially with so many people getting dropped on their head all the time. But anyway, Enzo's head smacked the rope in a whiplash effect. And, you know, you're just like, even though you're paying attention to the match, I'm going to guarantee that most people didn't see it until Enzo was laying on the floor and they did the replay. I didn't even notice it. It didn't really catch my eye. And it really wasn't that eye-catching. For some reason, I don't think they really caught it on camera. But when they did the replay and they really zoomed in on it, you really saw that Enzo got really hurt. So they waved off the match. It was a real shame because, you know, they were off to a good start. New Day was actually, they cut a really funny promo You know, Big E and Xavier Woods were being funny. I know I said New Day is getting old, but the promo before the match, Xavier Woods was talking about, you know, Beyonce saying to DM him, and, you know, Big E said something about that's where all the action is in the DMs, you know. I don't know. I thought it was funny, and then Enzo and Cass came out. You know, they did their shtick, and I don't know, I was all ready to enjoy this match, and it probably would have been a pretty decent match. It would have probably been a pretty good opener, but you know, Enzo was okay. You had Kevin Owens tweeting a picture of him and Enzo at the hospital, and Enzo was outside the hospital. He was discharged. It was a concussion. But it was really scary, the way how he wasn't moving at first, and his eyes were just like this. It was like, you know, I'm going to come right out and say it. I mean, you know, it looked like a bigger tragedy than what it was. You know, it would have been, I would have felt more comfortable if he was moving a little bit, but I was like, he wasn't moving and his eyes were wide open. That was some scary shit. I was pretty damn concerned, legitimately concerned. I'm not just saying that, you know, but it's, you know, when you watch the show every week and, you know, you're getting behind certain talents, and, you know, you don't want to see anybody get injured. Whether or not you don't like Enzo, you know, you don't want to see that happen to anybody. Anyway, they moved on to the next match. It was Kevin Owens defeating Sami Zayn in what was a pretty good match. You know, Sami Zayn continues to lose. He hasn't, you know, won a single match against Owens. And, you know, I don't really know how this kind of bodes, you know, well for Zayn losing. I mean, it was a hard-fought match. But, you know, Zayn gets, you know, thrown out of the ring and everything. And, you know, I'm going to get to it in a minute. But it was a good match. A lot of good back and forth. And, you know, I liked how Owen just kind of collapsed on top of Zayn like he was just spent. He was exhausted, like he couldn't perform another move. I'm giving this match 3.5 stars. Very good match. You know, I just wish that they could kind of put a little bit more story into it. With such a storied rivalry, why isn't there more of a story to this match, especially leading up to it? I mean, the only thing that they did was put a video package together at the last minute to build for this. The Miz defeated Cesaro. You had Kevin Owens on commentary, which was entertaining. And I really liked how Zayn came out and started beating up on Owens. And then they started fighting on the apron, which distracted Cesaro. The Miz came up from behind, gave him a schoolboy, and rolled him up. I like how they tried to intertwine these feuds together. You know, two guys that are in the running for the IC title. Zack Ryder is nowhere to be found. I mean, you know, I really feel really bad for Zack Ryder. I mean, this is a guy that really tries. I mean, you know, the guy's got the charisma. He's got the physique. It's, you know, it's like, what does Zack really need to do? You know, he's not really a small guy. I don't understand why McMahon is so hell-bent on just making a fool out of Zack. Why did they give him the win at Mania if, you know, they don't want to do anything with him again? I mean, it's like, you know, they could have not given him the win at Mania and nobody would have thought anything of it. But when you give him the win at Mania, people are going to expect something out of this. I mean, like, oh shit, like McMahon's, you know, but this ain't about Zack Ryder. I really enjoyed this match. I really liked all the different factors in play here. You know, this is a type of match that you don't see. It was eventful. Things were going on at ringside. This is what I mean when, you know, matches seem more eventful. This is what I'm saying. It's like, this is not a bad pay-per-view. There's more stuff going on in this show than what, you know, we're used to, which is a positive. I'm giving this match 3 stars. I like how they incorporated everything. Ambrose defeated Chris Jericho, which I was happy about, but this match was kind of lacking. Not a bad match, but it felt like very disconjointed. slow paced. These guys weren't meshing well for whatever reason. I really don't know why. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this should have been a pretty good matchup. I mean, you know, Ambrose and Jericho, they're pretty versatile in the ring. I didn't really think it was going to be that much of an issue, but it really did not live up to expectations. Not like I was expecting this match to be really, really good, but I was expecting a pretty good match, you know, maybe not very good, but at least, you know, I mean, it came out decent. You know, it was a little bit above average, but for the most part, this really could have been so much better. You know, both guys looked like they were kind of off. They were just performing moves and nothing was really, you know, linking together. It was kind of like move after move with, you know, with no flow to it. It just kind of, yeah, felt disconjointed is probably the best way I could put it. And having Ambrose get the victory over him, well, that I really enjoyed. That was something that was well-deserved. I mean, you know, it's about time for Ambrose. The guy's been losing like fucking crazy. It's about time that, you know, he wins a match. You know, and you know, winning a match against somebody other than Kevin Owens, because that's the only guy he's like allowed to beat on TV for some reason. I said 2.5 stars, didn't I? Yeah, so I'm giving it that. Charlotte defeated Natalya. Now, I was ready to give this match a good rating, because, I mean, this was a pretty good match. Having the presence there of Bret Hart and Ric Flair, you know, that added to the match's presentation. And there was a, you know, Charlotte hit Natalya with a big-ass kick. She performed a beautiful fucking moonsault. Then Charlotte puts Natalya in the sharpshooter, you know, and she's getting some heat. If this was in Canada, the crowd would have been going fucking nuts. But then Charles Robinson rings the bell. And it's there, you know, right away Michael called the Montreal Screwjob. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Are you serious right now? Are they really going this route? The Montreal fucking Screwjob. No. No. I'm sorry, but that was fucking retarded. It didn't even make any sense. Who was asking to ring the bell? In the original match, McMahon asked for the bell to be rung. It didn't just ring because the referee said so. Who the fuck said to do that? Then Bret Hart and Natalya, you know, they both got Charlotte and Ric Flair in the sharpshooters, just as Bret Hart promised. But, like, no wonder Bret Hart said that he didn't want to be a part of this. I guess this idea was already pitched to him. If I were Bret, I wouldn't have showed up for this shit. This was fucking stupid. This, to me, this really brought down the quality of the pay-per-view. This is the match I was talking about at the beginning. I mean, this was just so fucking stupid. They couldn't just have Charlotte beat Natalya or just have it end in a fucking DQ or some shit. That would have been a lot less lame than this. It really, seriously, somebody try to make sense of this. JBL says, oh, well, that's why Charles Robinson used to be called Lil Nature Boy. No, I'm sorry, JBL. That's not the reason why this happened. It's not because Charles Robinson was using his alter ego from 16 years ago in WCW and tried to help out Flair. Nobody would even get that. And that's not even what they were saying at first. I think they said, oh, shit, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. I couldn't even get over it. I'm like, why are they doing this? It's random, and why is the bell being rung? It didn't make any sense. McMahon came out and said to have the bell rung during the Montreal Screwjob. There's no McMahon. There was no authority figure. I'm giving this match a dud because I'm sorry, but everything they did in this match was for naught because they just fucked it up with that retarded ass finish. Then you had McMahon calling out Shane and Stephanie, and he was going to decide on who was going to run the show. Not that this was like a bad promo or anything, but this took so fucking long to do, and everyone's saying, CM Punk, shut the fuck up already with fucking CM Punk, for God fucking sakes. It's been 2 whole years since CM Punk has left the WWE. And he's not coming back anytime soon, motherfuckers. Never say never, I know that, but give it a fucking rest. It's disrespectful. It's fucking annoying already. Shut up. I've already talked about this fucking shit with attempting to hijack shows. It's retarded. Oh, we paid our money. Good for fucking you, but you're annoying the shit out of everybody else, the home audience, and even people in the fucking audience don't want to keep on hearing CM Punk chanted repeatedly. So it took them 20 fucking minutes to establish that Shane and Stephanie were going to be running, they were going to be running Raw. Now the thing is, why all these like sports publications and shows are saying that Raw is ready to take on a new era? What fucking Raws were they watching? They said that it's a step, it might be a step in the right direction, but if you've been watching these Raws, you would see how, you know, low quality they were. They didn't seem like, you know, Raw coming into a new era. They just seemed like just shitty Raws, basically. I don't know what the fuck these sports pundits were talking about. These journalists fucking saying that since Shane took over, Shane's not even on the show half the time. He spends the first 20 minutes on the show and then he ain't seen for the rest of it. That's bullshit. And we have to listen to all their accolades and fucking shit. Then it was Roman Reigns defeating AJ Styles. AJ Styles hit this fucking amazing flying forearm through the announce table. Then AJ rolls in the ring. Roman Reigns gets counted out. Shane says to restart the match. It's going to be no count out. Then Roman Reigns low blows AJ. Then it was a disqualification. Then Stephanie McMahon said that there's not going to be any DQ in this match. So I kind of saw what they were doing in a way. At first I was like, the fuck? But they wanted to establish that, you know, Shane and Stephanie, you know, they just said that they're going to be running Raw. They're running the pay-per-views too. I guess that means everything. I don't know. But anyway, so when they got to the match, it was a pretty good fucking match, which I don't understand here. You know, you had the Gallows and Anderson coming out to do the run-ins, the Usos. It was a crazy fucking match, crazy interference, great spots. Roman Reigns got the spear at the end, and people are saying this was a lousy match. You know, I hate Roman Reigns as much as the next guy. You know, I dislike the guy a lot. He's not a good wrestler. He's shitty at promos. You know, he has no fucking charisma. But when the guy has a good match, could we at least tell the fucking truth? It wasn't a bad match. You look like a bunch of fucking mamalukes when you say it's a bad match. You're complaining about a good match. You know, like I said, let's just call a spade a spade. Can't we tell the fucking truth? Do we have to do this act like, oh, every single thing Roman Reigns wrestles in, I have to say it's bad, even though it's good? I mean, come on. If you think that match was bad, or, you know, come the fuck on already. I could see if you didn't think it was the best match ever. I'm giving it 3 3/4 stars. I could see if you didn't think it was the best one ever. But still, the match was pretty fucking decent. It by no means was a bad match. That everybody, oh, it's so horrible, I hate Roman Reigns. Give me a fucking break. It was a good match. You had a really fucking awesome spot with that flying forearm through the table. And it was a decent match nonetheless. I mean, to say that this was one of the worst pay-per-views ever, that's a fucking just exaggerating to the umpteenth power right there. I mean, you know, the first match, it wasn't their fault. Enzo got injured. And there was only one really bad match, and that was Natalya and Charlotte, and that was due to the fucked up finish. you know, you only really had 5 matches on this show. So 4 out of the 5 were good matches, decent to good matches. Can't really say it was that horrible. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. You know, I don't like Roman Reigns. I'm not saying it was a really good show, but it wasn't that fucking horrible. Get fucking over yourself. It's, you know, I don't like Roman Reigns, but it wasn't that bad. All right, motherfuckers.